SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be continuing on with another analog horror series. This one from a usual that we've had on the channel. One that was one of the first requested actually analog horrors that I checked out by the original creator, and that being Goji times 2 or Goji X2. Continuing on with a newer series called Our Fears. Now this one only has 2 episodes, the prologue and of course chapter 1. So we will be talking about those in a bit of length, and we'll be waiting for the next ones to come out soon. But for right now, this was asked of me to watch. I did, and they are pretty good. I have something to say about them. I think that they do have some theories about it, and it's definitely worth checking out. Please, I do say go check out the original, have your own opinions, come back in the comment section, leave what you think's happening in the main story, or if you think that how the rest of the story will progress will happen later on. And with that being said, let's get started, shall we? Oh, and before that, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. We are almost to 500 subscribers. It would help me out a lot if I can get up to 500 and probably a little bit past that. And with that being said, thanks again for watching, and let's get started. In 1980, a strange string of deaths has started to occur, starting supposedly in Sydney, Australia, with a man named John Box. John Box was found deceased in his home by his family with unknown injuries. Well, not unknown injuries, just an unknown death. No one was able to truly find out what happened to him or how he ended up deceased in the first place. There are no signs of blunt force trauma. There are no signs of disease, much more like he just walked into his house, fell asleep, and just never woke up. That seems to be the case with many people after that. From day to day, there seems to be a rise in that death toll from all over the world, starting in Australia, to the United States, to the United Kingdom, to China, Japan, and so on and so forth, with the numbers rising in the double digits and soon in the triple digits as we see after 4 to 6 days. Now this is happening very simultaneously and unknown to the main events. But with the higher the rate happen, the more they seem to catch. The investigators seem to catch a creature lurking in one of the victims' homes, mainly due to a camera malfunction or mainly due to them just happening to find it. This creature is reminiscent of a snake, and sometimes people have identified it as a spider as well. But for right now, we're just going to call them fear snakes. Fear snakes have been stalking homes all over the countries, or should I say all over the world, period. While there's not much information about this creature, there's enough information to tell us how to ward it off. And that's usually to keep all the lights on in the house. That is, try not to sleep, and if you do, try to sleep in shifts with family. Try to sleep in the same room if you can. But for the most part, there seems to be no definitive way to stop these creatures. They're not affected by either weaponry or being able to fight them off. All that's known that if you do fall asleep and are attacked by one of these creatures, you probably won't survive the night. As for the abilities of these creatures, it's left a mystery as well. All we know is that they do enter the house, and they do attack at night. Professionals say that if the mortality rates keep going up at this rate, then humanity will be in a population decline in a matter of 33 days. And from that point on, we don't really see much more from that, because from the prologue, we can say that we ended right there at the end of that kind of 33, with as many as trying to fight it off. And while we don't have much information about the snakes and or spiders, we can pretty much assume. And we do know that there is a darker creature hiding amongst all this chaos, but we'll talk about that in a second. For the most part, this is very interesting, and I do like the way and the concept that this is all playing out. I can pretty much assume what's happening, and we will talk about it right now, but that's more of a theory. So, with that being said, let's move on, shall we? Now, this is the part where I usually talk about who the narrator is and who's the one putting all this together. Now, for the most part, it does seem that this is mainly a public service announcement, if you will. This is mainly for the public to know and be aware of what this entity is about. But something does happen in the prologue that leads me to think that there's something bigger happening here. That the narration is going to be kind of here and there. This is set up by the world government, if you will, to kind of warn us against the fear snakes. But I do think that this entity that we see at the very end of the prologue is going to be altering these footages, going to make it more intense. Mainly because that is his main purpose. Well, who he is and what he is, I do think we're going to get into right now, because it really goes into what is happening with the fear snakes, what's happening with the fear spiders, and what this is all ultimately leading up to. So for right now, we're going to leave that the main narration of this is, in fact, the government, scientists, and all that trying to warn the people of an overarching enemy coming about them, with this entity constantly interrupting that and or adjusting it to his own machinations. Now, let's talk about the entity. A lot can be said about him, but the one thing that he kept hinting at was the fear aspect. Now, when we do think about what fear is and how these people have died, there's one thing that we can pretty much assume. They did not die because they were bitten or because of a virus or anything like that. I think something much more interesting is happening. They're literally dying of fear in their sleep, giving it a Freddy Krueger vibe. That explains why there is no kind of physical harm, because as we said with the John Box scenario, there was no external injury, if you will. There was no sense that he was bitten. There was no sense that anything had gotten into him, period. So that tells me that whatever happens is all mental. So that leads me to believe that these people are not dying because of a disease or anything like that. They are literally dying of fear. Maybe from a nightmare, maybe from a dream. But that gives us an idea that this is all happening because of the analog horrors called our fear. Which is, again, what this entity in space has been telling us. It's approaching, causing fear because it feeds off it. It feeds off of the idea that we are afraid of it and we are afraid of the snakes. So for the most part, I would have to say that that's kind of where their powers are coming from. Now, what is this creature that haunts us? What is this creature that inspires us to be afraid of it? Well, because it's in space, I am inclined to give it on face value. Maybe it is a entity that haunts the cosmos. It says it kills gods, and maybe it does that. Maybe it's a alien-like entity that's constantly conquering planets from planet to planet. But this is only its second try, because we do hear it say, "You are the second to last," meaning that we are either not the first or we are almost to the ending of this whole thing. We are the important component to finishing its overall scheme. While I would like to give it some leeway into thinking it that way, part of me wants to also say that this thing is using space as kind of a fear tactic. This thing is the darkness kind of incarnated. This thing is earthbound, I think. This thing is a supernatural entity of our darkest manifestations. It is fear. It is fear itself. It is the shadow given form. And that's why it takes on this appearance, and that's why it attacks us. And that's why fear seems to power it. Because it's not really a living entity. It is our fear personified. It tries to just build itself up into more. And why does it want just the destruction of humanity? We don't really know that as of this very moment. But for right now, we can say with certainty that this thing is a lot more than just an alien creature. It is a supernatural being beyond our own comprehension. Now, with the information given and the facts that we have, I can't really say how we can defeat this creature. I can't really say that to begin with. But I will say that the one surefire way to do this is to not be afraid of it. Mainly because when they say we do fight back, there is a level of success rate. Mainly because when we do give it into fear, that's when it seems to get its power, that's when it seems to strike. And while being up for almost 24 hours a day does not seem feasible, and keeping all the lights on also doesn't seem to be a reasonable suggestion either, it does seem to tell me that the only way to stop the fear of spiders, the fear of snakes, is to not be afraid of them, is to face them head on. You probably can't fight them, you probably can't beat them, but the best choice of survival is simple that. Just don't be afraid of the entity that lies in front of you. Now, that may seem like a hard task or easy task, but either way, that's why they're designed as spiders and snakes. They are to get us frazzled, they are to get us scared, they are to get us kind of second guessing ourselves. And maybe because we are asleep, we don't know that we are seeing a nightmare. But either way, the one way to beat this creature, or this entity period, does seem to be not to fear it at all. And from what we can tell from the prologue, that doesn't seem to be the case of winning anything. Mainly because, like they said, it's attacking us in our sleep, our weakest point. But I do say that there is some leeway to help successfully preserve humankind. Now, with all that being said, I do think that there is some leeway. The future that we see at the end of the prologue, again, I don't believe that's the accurate depiction. I do think that that's just this entity kind of altering footage, making people think that the worst is yet to come, and that there is still something out there that is bigger than comprehension. Hence why this is called our fear. This is something that is a bigger entity, maybe not extraterrestrial, or it might be. I'm not sure. I need more information to kind of pin that down. But for right now, that's what we have, and that's kind of my guess on what's happening. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and down below if you did. Now, please go check out Goji Time 2 original videos. I will put a link on the original playlist down below. I do suggest going to check it out and having your own opinion. Thanks again for him allowing me to do this video. And with that being said, yeah, thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys next time. See ya, and have a great one.